Have you ever noticed how a single drop of dark ink can change an entire glass of clear water? You start your morning with a quiet mind. You feel balanced, you feel ready, and then it happens. Something incredibly small goes wrong. A spilled cup of coffee, a long, unmoving line of traffic, a sharp, thoughtless word from a coworker, a missing set of keys when you are already rushing to leave. In an instant, the clear water is stained. Your chest tightens, your jaw clenches, your mind begins to race. And just like that, a fleeting 5-minute inconvenience becomes the heavy, dark cloud that ruins your entire day. What if the thing stealing your joy is not the inconvenience itself, but the tight, desperate grip you have on how your day was supposed to be? Most of your suffering in these moments is not caused by what actually happened. It is caused by how tightly you are holding on to the illusion of a flawless reality. If you have ever felt your mood spiral over a minor annoyance, if you have ever abandoned your own peace over a trivial delay, or felt emotionally exhausted by your own irritation, this is for you. Stay until the end, because the final lesson may change the way you see this everyday pain forever. When something small goes wrong, we often do a quiet but destructive thing. We abandon ourselves. We let a tiny friction dictate our internal weather. We hand over our inner peace to a rude stranger, a slow internet connection, or a dropped plate. We immediately tell ourselves a story. My day is ruined. But Buddhist wisdom teaches us something profoundly different. It reminds us that our deepest suffering does not come from the changing, unpredictable nature of life. It comes from our strict resistance to it. We suffer because we believe life should flow exactly as we planned it in our minds. We unknowingly attach our inner peace to external perfection, and when reality breaks our invisible script, we become angry. We are not truly mad at the spilled coffee, we are mad at the broken script. Imagine walking through a beautiful, ancient forest. You are carrying a heavy backpack, yet you feel strong. You are enjoying the journey. But then, a tiny pebble falls into your shoe. It is so small you can barely see it. Yet, with every step, it digs into your heel. Soon, you stop looking at the towering trees. You stop feeling the sunlight. You stop hearing the wind. All you can feel is the sharp, persistent sting of that one tiny rock. You could simply pause, take off the shoe, and let the pebble fall out. But instead, you keep walking, growing more and more furious at the pebble, letting its smallness ruin the majesty of the entire forest. This is what we do with minor inconveniences. Think about your own life. How many beautiful days have you missed because you were mentally arguing with a moment that lasted only a few seconds? How much of your vital energy is spent walking fiercely with a pebble in your shoe, punishing yourself for an accident that has already passed? Ask yourself right now, what small pebble are you still holding on to today? Is obsessing over it bringing you peace, or is it only feeding your fear that you have no control? Pause. Breathe. Notice the tension in your body and loosen your grip. You do not have to fight the reality of what just happened. You only have to stop letting it dictate your joy. Because true peace is not a magical destination where nothing ever goes wrong. It is the quiet, unbreakable strength that allows things to go wrong without taking you down with them. But recognizing the pebble is only the first step. To truly stop abandoning yourself when life becomes irritating, we must look at the silent, exhausting trap we set for ourselves every single morning. And this is where the next truth begins. 2. The illusion of the flawless day. What if the harder you try to protect your peace, the more fragile it becomes? Here is a truth few people want to face. We rarely begin our mornings in reality. Instead, we wake up and immediately construct an invisible, perfect blueprint of how the hours should unfold. We imagine a smooth commute, We picture polite colleagues, cooperative children, and a quiet, uninterrupted evening. We carry this fragile script in our minds, using it to judge every single interaction. And then, life happens. The Wi-Fi drops out in the middle of a crucial task. A slow driver forces you to miss a traffic light. Someone speaks to you with an unexpected, sharp tone. Instantly, the mind rebels. We feel a strange sense of betrayal, as if the universe has broken a promise it never made. The frustration that rises in your chest is not just about the slow internet or the traffic light. It is the heavy, exhausting grief of a perfect day being ruined. We think, this is not how it was supposed to go. Buddhism reminds us that holding on to rigid expectations is like trying to tie a knot in a flowing river. The water will always move. Our suffering in these moments is born entirely from attachment, our desperate clinging to how things ought to be, rather than meeting them as they are. When we demand that the world be flawless before we allow ourselves to be happy, we build our joy on a foundation of sand. Imagine a boat moving through rough water. The person steering the boat does not scream at the waves, demanding they flatten out. They do not take the storm personally. They simply adjust the sails. They know that the nature of the ocean is to move, to swell, and to break. Yet, in our daily lives, we stand on the deck of our own ships and scream at the waves. We take it personally when a sudden rainstorm ruins our plans. We feel targeted when a line at the grocery store moves too slowly. We abandon our center, throwing away our joy because the world refused to follow our script. We let the mind spin into anger, missing the simple truth that the wave is just a wave. Think about your own life. How often do you punish the present moment for not matching the picture in your head? How many times have you turned a minor 5-minute delay into a 2-hour sour mood? Is this internal fight bringing you peace, or is it only feeding your need for control? Pause, breathe, observe the irritation without letting it drive the boat. You do not have to fix the wave, you only have to ride it. When the inconvenience happens, simply notice the tension in your jaw and silently say to yourself, "This is just how things are right now." Do your part, then release the outcome, because peace is not a fragile glass vase that shatters the moment reality shakes the table. True peace is the deep, wide ocean beneath the storm, undisturbed by the ripples on the surface. You do not need a flawless day to remain whole, but releasing the illusion of a perfect day is only part of the journey. What happens in that split second when the irritation first strikes? How do we stop the fire before it consumes the forest? And this is where the next truth begins. 3. The sacred pause before the storm. What if your greatest power is hidden in the silence right before you react? Here is the truth few people want to face. You are not a victim of your own reactions. Yet, in the heat of a frustrating moment, it always feels like you are. When the water glass shatters on the floor, when the harsh email arrives, when a stranger cuts you off in traffic, the reaction feels entirely automatic. A surge of heat rises in your chest, your jaw tightens. A sharp sigh escapes your lips before you even realize you are breathing. We snap. Instantly, we become our anger. We let the external event completely hijack our internal state. The transition from peace to fury happens so quickly that we do not even realize we made a choice. We think the inconvenience caused our anger, but the truth is, we blindly handed over the keys to our peace. One of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is the understanding of the space between what happens to you and how you respond. This space is the sacred pause. Mindfulness is not a magical, detached state where you never feel irritated. It is simply the practice of widening that gap. It is observing the spark before it burns down the entire house. When we are entirely attached to our emotions, we believe every sudden feeling demands immediate action. But Buddhism reminds us that we can simply watch the emotion arrive like a dark cloud moving across a vast sky without letting it strike lightning into our day. Imagine a single candle burning quietly in a dark room. Suddenly, someone violently throws open the window. A harsh wind rushes in. The flame wildly flickers, dances violently, and almost goes out entirely. Our minds are just like that unprotected flame, constantly blown around by the unpredictable winds of daily inconveniences. Every minor delay, every misplaced item, every cancelled plan is a gust of wind. But the sacred pause, that deep, conscious breath before you react, is like a heavy glass lantern placed over the candle. The wind still blows. The storm still rages outside, but the flame remains steady, safe behind the glass. We face these chaotic winds every single day. A passive-aggressive message from a family member. A sudden, unexpected expense. A piece of software crashing before you hit save on hours of work. Without the lantern, the wind extinguishes our peace. We immediately fire back an angry text. We complain to anyone who will listen. We let our moods sour for the rest of the afternoon, effectively ruining our own time. We abandon ourselves over a gust of wind. Think about the last time you lost your center over a trivial inconvenience. Ask yourself right now, did your immediate, angry reaction change the outcome, or did it only exhaust you? Is this automatic reaction bringing you peace or feeding your inner chaos? What would happen if you simply let the moment be broken without breaking yourself along with it? Pause, breathe, feel the heat of the irritation, but do not move with it. Let the feeling rise without making it your identity. You do not have to immediately answer the door just because anger is knocking. Because true freedom is not avoiding the wind, it is learning to protect the flame. It is giving yourself the grace of a single second before you decide who you are going to be in that moment. But what happens when the irritation is too strong and the anger has already taken hold? How do we stop running from the discomfort and finally stay with ourselves when it hurts? And this is where the next truth begins. 4. Staying with yourself in the fire. What if the most courageous thing you can do when you are angry is simply to stay? Here is the truth few people want to face. When a small inconvenience ruins our mood and the anger has already taken hold, our first instinct is to abandon ship. We run from the discomfort of our own irritation. We do not want to feel the heat in our chest. We do not want to sit with the tightness in our throat. So, we immediately try to expel the feeling. We snap at someone we love. We furiously scroll through a screen to numb the sensation. We complain to anyone who will listen, retelling the story of the slow traffic or the rude coworker, hoping that by sharing the frustration, it will somehow leave our bodies. We abandon ourselves right when we need our own presence the most. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that suffering multiplies when we refuse to feel what is actually happening. We often assume that to find peace, we must reject all negative emotions. But Buddhism reminds us that emotions are simply passing weather. Attachment is not just clinging to what is good. It is also desperately pushing away what is uncomfortable. When we fight the fire of our own irritation, we only give it more oxygen. The deepest practice is not to completely avoid anger. The practice is to stay present in the fire without throwing more wood into it. Imagine a small fire burning in an open, quiet field. The flames dance, crackle, and occasionally send hot sparks into the night air. If you panic and try to stamp out the fire with your bare hands, you will only burn yourself. If you wildly throw dirt and branches at it in a rush, you might accidentally feed the flames. But if you simply sit back and watch, if you allow the fire to consume the fuel it already has, eventually the flames will settle. The heat will dissipate. The fire will quietly turn to ash on its own. Your irritation is that fire. In our daily lives, When we are frustrated by a delayed flight, a spilled drink, or a critical comment, we refuse to let the fire naturally burn out. We throw the dry leaves of overthinking onto it. We replay the event over and over in our minds. We judge ourselves for being angry, adding the heavy wood of guilt to the flames. We refuse to just let the moment be what it is, a temporary passing spark. Think about your own life. When something small goes wrong and your mood spirals, do you stay with yourself? Or do you immediately try to escape the uncomfortable feeling by reacting, complaining, or shutting down? What are you afraid will happen if you simply let the anger burn out on its own? Is fighting this feeling bringing you peace, or is it feeding your inner chaos? Pause. Breathe. Next time the heat of frustration rises, do not run. Sit with the fire. Feel the physical sensation of the anger. Observe the tight jaw. Notice the rapid heartbeat. Let the feeling rise without making it your identity. Let the storm pass without becoming the storm. Because true inner peace is not the permanent absence of fire. It is the quiet confidence that you can sit beside the flames without being consumed by them. But once the fire finally fades, we often make a new mistake. We feel a sudden emptiness, and we immediately begin searching for a loud, intense distraction to make us feel happy again. And this is where the next truth begins. 5. The trap of chasing loud joy. What if the reason you feel so empty after a bad mood is because you are looking for peace in all the wrong places? Here is the truth few people want to face. After the storm of irritation passes and the anger finally subsides, we are often left with a lingering, hollow exhaustion. To fix this uncomfortable quiet, we immediately crave a quick, intense escape. We seek loud joy. We want a massive wave of excitement to wash away the heavy mood. We look for a distraction, a sudden purchase, hours of endless scrolling, forcing a chaotic night out, or seeking sudden validation from others. We believe that if we can just find something thrilling enough, new enough, or intense enough, it will erase the frustration of the day. But this constant search for high-intensity relief is deeply exhausting. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that craving intense pleasure is just another form of suffering. It keeps us bound to an endless wheel of desire. We are taught to walk the middle way, finding balance between extreme indulgence and total deprivation. When we constantly chase loud, novel experiences to cure our bad moods, we begin to believe that happiness only exists in dramatic peaks. We become attached to excitement, entirely ignoring the vast, beautiful landscape of quiet contentment. We forget that peace does not require a sudden rush. Imagine a person who refuses to drink water unless it is boiling hot or freezing cold. They shock their system with every single sip, believing that if the water does not burn or freeze, it is not actually doing anything. They completely forget that cool, still water is what actually sustains life and deeply nourishes the body. Our minds are exactly like this when we constantly chase peak experiences to cure a sour mood. Think about an evening after a highly stressful, irritating day. A tiny inconvenience ruined your morning, and the shadow followed you for hours. Instead of resting, you feel a desperate urge to do something drastic. You want to buy something you do not need, plan a sudden trip, or immerse yourself in loud noise just to finally feel good again. You are trying to desperately buy back the joy you lost to a minor inconvenience. But the intense chase only leaves you feeling more depleted. You are trying to cure exhaustion with more exhaustion. Think about your own life. Why does your joy always need to be a major event? What are you running from when you cannot sit in the quiet aftermath of a difficult day? Is this frantic chase bringing you peace, or is it only feeding your inner exhaustion? Pause. Breathe. Notice the urgent need to escape into noise, and simply observe it. Let the quiet emptiness sit there without rushing to fill it with flashing lights. You do not need to construct a grand experience to feel alive again. You do not have to chase what is already exhausting you, because true joy does not need to shout to be real. It does not require a massive event to validate your existence, but to experience this gentle relief and look closely at what is already quietly waiting right in front of us. And this is where the next truth begins. 6. The quiet magic of the ordinary. What if the peace you are desperately searching for has been sitting quietly beside you all along? Here is the truth few people want to face. We spend so much of our lives waiting for the grand moments. We wait for the weekend, the vacation, the big apology, or the sudden windfall to finally feel happy. When a minor inconvenience ruins our morning, we mistakenly assume the entire day is ruined unless some equally massive positive event happens to balance the scales. We write off the remaining hours. We tell ourselves, today is just a bad day, completely blinding ourselves to the gentle, comforting things that are still happening right in front of us. We walk right past 1,000 tiny, beautiful moments because our eyes are fixed on the horizon, searching for a loud rescue that we do not actually need. Buddhist wisdom teaches us the profound art of presence. Mindfulness is not about escaping to a mountaintop to find enlightenment. It is about washing the dishes and actually feeling the warm water on your hands. It is the deep realization that the present moment, no matter how ordinary or unglamorous, is the only place where life actually happens. Buddhism reminds us that when we stop demanding life to be thrilling, a profound sense of gratitude naturally arises. When we release our attachment to intensity, we discover that true joy is woven deeply into the simple, mundane fabric of our daily existence. Imagine a dusty, forgotten room. For years, the door has been closed because the owner believes there is no treasure inside. But one afternoon, the door is left slightly ajar. A single beam of late afternoon sunlight cuts through the darkness, illuminating the floating dust, warming the old wooden floor, and turning a quiet, empty space into something breathtakingly beautiful. The room itself did not change. No grand furniture was brought in. The walls were not painted. The only thing that shifted was the light. In our modern lives, we constantly lock the door to our own ordinary days. We are so busy recovering from a morning traffic jam or dwelling on a frustrating email that we completely miss the sunlight warming our steering wheel on the drive home. We miss the comforting taste of our warm tea. We miss the quiet, loyal presence of a pet resting at our feet, or the sound of the wind through the trees outside our window. We dismiss these small, gentle moments because they do not feel loud enough to cure our earlier irritation. We are starving for joy while sitting at a banquet of ordinary miracles. Think about your own life. How many quiet moments of comfort have you ignored today because your mind was stuck on a single frustration? What grand event are you waiting for before you allow yourself to feel good again? Is ignoring the present moment bringing you peace, or is it only feeding your inner emptiness? Pause, breathe, look around you right now, and notice one incredibly simple thing: the texture of your clothes, the rhythm of your own breath, the quiet hum of the room. Let the ordinary moment hold you without demanding it be anything more, because joy does not have to be earned through intensity. It does not need to be loud to be real. It is simply waiting for you to pay attention. But noticing the present moment requires us to stop kicking up the dirt of our past frustrations. How do we finally let the lingering resentment of a ruined mood settle? And this is where the next truth begins. What if the harder you try to fix a bad mood, the worse it actually becomes? Here is the truth few people want to face. When a small inconvenience strikes and our inner peace is shattered, we immediately try to think our way out of the discomfort. We believe that if we just analyze the situation enough, we will feel better. We replay the rude comment. We justify our anger over the spilled coffee or the unfair delay. We endlessly narrate the event in our heads, desperately trying to solve the emotion as if it were a math problem. We assume that mental effort will somehow clear the heavy fog in our minds, but trying to aggressively think your way out of a bad mood is like trying to smooth rough water with a flat piece of wood. You only create more ripples. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that a restless, agitated mind cannot be forced into stillness. When we are caught in the grip of irritation, our instinct is to aggressively intervene. But Buddhism reminds us of the profound power of non-interference. We do not always need to dissect our emotions. We do not always need to uncover the deep root of every passing frustration. Sometimes, the most deeply spiritual thing you can do is simply leave your mind alone. Clarity is not something you actively manufacture. It is something that naturally returns when you stop stirring the debris. Imagine a glass jar scooped directly from the edge of a rushing, muddy river. The water inside is dark, swirling, and completely opaque. If you hold the jar and violently shake it, demanding that the mud disappear, the water only becomes darker. The more you agitate it, the less you can see. You cannot reach in and pull the dirt out. The only way to clear the water is to place the jar gently on a quiet table, step back, and do absolutely nothing. If you give it time, the natural order of things will take over. The mud will slowly drift to the bottom, and the water will become perfectly clear on its own. In our daily lives, we are constantly shaking the jar. When a minor plan falls through or a stranger is dismissive, the mud is stirred. Instead of giving ourselves time to process it, we shake the jar with overthinking. We vent to our friends, reliving the frustration. We ruminate in the shower, crafting the perfect comeback for a moment that is already over. We exhaust ourselves trying to forcefully clear a mood that simply needed a little silence and space. We abandon our peace by refusing to just let the moment settle. Think about your own life. What frustrating moment from earlier today are you still violently shaking right now? What are you afraid will happen if you simply stop analyzing the situation? Is this endless mental spinning bringing you peace, or is it only feeding your inner chaos? Pause, breathe. Stop trying to figure out exactly why you are so irritated. Stop demanding immediate clarity. Put the jar down. You do not have to solve every negative emotion. You only have to give it room to naturally sink. Because true peace is not a puzzle you have to aggressively solve. It is the natural, quiet state that returns the moment you stop agitating your own mind. But once the mud finally settles and the water is clear, we must gently gather the pieces of ourselves we left behind in the storm. And this is where the next truth begins. 8. Returning to what is whole. What if the guilt you feel after losing your temper is heavier than the anger itself? Here is the truth few people want to face. When the mud finally settles, and we realize we just let a tiny inconvenience ruin our entire afternoon, a new, quieter pain sets in. Shame. We look back at how we overreacted to the slow traffic, the spilled coffee, or the minor delay, and we judge ourselves fiercely. We think, I should be better than this. We feel fractured, as though our brief moment of frustration has permanently damaged who we are. In trying not to abandon ourselves to anger, we end up abandoning ourselves to guilt. We believe that because we briefly lost our peace, we are fundamentally broken. Buddhist wisdom teaches us something deeply comforting, the belief in our inherent wholeness. Beneath all of our passing emotions, underneath every layer of frustration and exhaustion, your core is always unbroken and pure. In Buddhist thought, a moment of anger or irritation does not permanently stain your spirit. It is simply a passing phenomenon. We are reminded to offer ourselves deep, unwavering compassion. Beating yourself up for losing your center is like punishing the sky for having clouds. Imagine a vast, boundless blue sky. Suddenly, a violent, dark storm rolls in. Thunder shakes the air. Heavy rain falls. For a short time, you cannot see the blue at all. The entire horizon is swallowed by shadows. It feels as though the darkness is permanent, but eventually, the wind dies down. The dark clouds naturally drift away. And when they do, the sky is still there, exactly as it always was. The storm did not scratch the sky. The rain did not wash away its endless blue. The sky simply allowed the weather to pass and remained whole. You are the sky. Your irritation, your bad mood, your overreactions over a missing set of keys or a cancelled plan, these are just the weather. In our modern lives, we often confuse ourselves with the storm. When we snap at a loved one or spend hours silently fuming over a trivial mistake at work, we tell ourselves we are the storm. We carry the heavy burden of shame, dragging the ghost of our past irritation into the rest of our day. We let a moment of impatience at a crowded grocery store become a harsh judgment on our entire character. We refuse to forgive ourselves for simply being human. Think about your own life. How often do you fiercely punish yourself for slipping up? When the bad mood finally lifts, do you welcome yourself back with warmth? Or do you lock yourself out in the cold with harsh judgments? What are you holding on to by refusing to forgive yourself? Is this internal criticism bringing you peace, or is it only feeding your inner exhaustion? Pause, breathe, place a hand over your heart, and offer yourself a moment of grace. You are not a failure for feeling frustrated. You are simply learning how to walk through the rain. Let the shame wash away. Return to your breath. Welcome yourself back home without demanding an apology. Because true wholeness is not the ability to never fall apart. It is the quiet willingness to gather yourself back together with gentle hands. But there is one final step. Once we let go of the anger, and once we forgive ourselves for the storm, how do we build a peace that cannot be shaken? And this is where the next truth begins. 9. The freedom of unconditional peace. What if the greatest freedom of all is simply allowing the world to be exactly as it is? Think back to the clear glass of water we spoke of at the beginning, the spilled coffee, the slow traffic, the thoughtless word from a coworker. For so long, we believed that these tiny drops of dark ink had the power to ruin our entire day. We walked with the sharp pebble in our shoe, furious at the forest. We stood on the deck of our ship and screamed at the waves. We fought the fire with our bare hands, and we frantically shook the muddy jar, begging for clarity. In our desperate attempt to protect our joy, we continuously abandoned ourselves. But you now know the truth. You now know that the small inconvenience was never the enemy. The true thief of your peace was the illusion of control. It was the heavy, exhausting demand that life follow your invisible, perfect script. Buddhist wisdom does not promise us a life free from spills, delays, or harsh words. The world will always be unpredictable. The water will always ripple. The wind will always blow. But the profound promise of this path is that you no longer have to be blown away with it. You have discovered the sacred pause. You have learned that you can feel the heat of the fire without letting it consume the entire forest. You can watch the dark cloud move across your sky, knowing deeply that the blue expanse behind it remains completely unbroken. Imagine stepping out of your front door tomorrow morning. The air is cool, your mind is quiet, and then the inevitable happens. You drop your keys. A line is too long. A quiet plan suddenly falls apart. But this time, something is different. Your chest does not tighten. Your jaw does not clench. You do not spiral into a harsh story about how the day is ruined. Instead, you simply pause. You take a deep, steady breath. You feel the initial spark of irritation, but you do not feed it. You do not demand a loud, intense distraction to make yourself feel better. You simply notice the light in the room, You feel the solid ground beneath your feet. You look at the tiny pebble of inconvenience, and you gently let it fall away. You do not abandon yourself in the fire, you stay. This is the quiet magic of non-attachment. This is what it means to find a joy that does not depend on the world being flawless. Peace is no longer a fragile glass vase resting on the edge of a table, waiting to be shattered by a careless breeze. Your peace is now the deep, vast ocean, completely undisturbed by the temporary, chaotic waves on the surface. Think about your own life right now. Look at the burdens you have been carrying today. Look at the minor frustrations you have been holding on to so tightly. You do not need to carry them into tomorrow. You do not need to fight the current anymore. You are allowed to simply put the heavy backpack down. Pause, breathe, let that sink in. You are not powerless. You do not have to chase what is already leaving. You are strong enough to let things break without breaking yourself along with them. If these lessons touched your heart, share this video with someone who may need a little more peace today. Let life meet you where you are.